Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So after receiving a lot of comments, I am finally starting a Node.js series on my channel. So in the first video, we will cover get started with Node.js. We will understand why this language is so popular and which applications we can build with the Node.js. We will also understand about Node.js command line. So this will be a perfect start for the beginners who want to learn Node.js from scratch and build one-stack applications. So if this sounds interesting, then stick around. Also, don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. So let's get started. Alright guys, so before we go into the hands-on with the Node.js, we need to first go through some of the slides and understand what actually Node.js is, why this language is so popular, which apps actually we can build with Node.js, and what is the difference between a Node.js and the browser. So we will start with introduction to Node.js. So Node.js is an open source cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment. Node.js runs on JavaScript V8 engine. This is the core of the Google Chrome and allows us to run JavaScript outside the browser and also makes Node.js much performant. Node.js app runs in a single process without creating a new thread for every request. When Node.js performs any input-output operation like reading from a network, accessing a database or a file system, instead of blocking the thread and wasting the CPU cycles, Node.js will use a callback function. Node.js uses event-driven non-blocking input-output model to handle concurrent requests with a single thread. Now let's see why Node.js is so popular. It uses JavaScript as its main language to build web application. With just JavaScript, we can build front-end as well as back-end applications, which means Node.js is everywhere on the client and on the server. Node.js is primarily a JavaScript runtime environment, runs on V8 engine, and V8 engine has an ability to compile and execute JavaScript at a lightning fast speed, and that makes Node.js application very fast and performant. Node.js uses basic event-driven architecture and it handles multiple requests with a single asynchronous thread. This reduces the workload on the CPU as well as the memory. This makes our application lightweight. Node.js has more than 700,000 modules in their NPM registry, and using the ready-made modules instead of coding, which reduces the development time and results a faster time to the market. Now, microservices API designed with Node.js is getting extremely popular. It can handle many simultaneous requests and create the apps without decreasing speed or performance. And Node.js is enabled to build flexible apps that can run smoothly on cross platforms by creating APIs, and whether it's a Linux machine or Windows or Mac OS. NPM and its simple structure help to build the ecosystem of Node.js, and NPM has more than 1 million open source packages which we can use freely. Now, the last thing is that Node.js has evolved a lot in the recent years, and it has made it available for many hosting services, like we can deploy the Node.js application or we can host them anywhere in Heroku, Netlify, Cloud. Now let's understand what applications we can build with the help of Node.js. So with the help of Node.js, we can build a streaming web application like Netflix, Amazon. We can build real-time web applications like chat, instant messaging. We can build microservices, which is popular modern architecture API design, and IoT applications. We can build any MERN stack application like e-commerce. We can also build social media and networking applications like LinkedIn, Medium. And last, creating RESTful APIs which can be consumed by any front-end or mobile applications. Now let's understand what is the difference between a Node.js and a browser. So both the browser and the Node.js, they uses JavaScript as their programming language. Building apps that run in the browser is a very different thing than building a Node.js application. And despite the fact that JavaScript is all over the place, there are some key differences that makes the experience radically different. With browser, we can have access to the DOM elements, web API, whereas with Node.js, we have modules to access file systems and OS. Node.js supports both CommonJS require and ES module system, where we use the import to import any package. While in the browser, we are now seeing that ES modules are being implemented. So before you jump into the Node.js, there are some JavaScript concepts that you should know. You should know about classes, arrays and objects, functions, scope, loops, variables, expressions, async and await, closure, async program and callbacks, event loop and types. So few of the topics like event loops, types, we are going to cover again in the Node.js course. But for all the other topics, I already have video on the JavaScript topics. I'm going to add the links in the description so that you can check it out later on. Now let's go and install the Node.js. So if you want to install the Node.js, you can simply go to the documentation of the Node.js, and then based on your operating system, you can just install the latest version or the recommended for most users. So let's go to the browser. So I'm going to minimize this and I will go to the browser and I will have Node.js. And the first link is the Node.js. I will just zoom in the screen and you will see that now I'm using a Mac machine. So that's why I have a Mac OS, and you can download it either this one or this one. You just need to click on it. You will have an installation file, and then let's do that. So I'm going to click on it and now you will see that my installation file is open. Now if I click on it, then it is going to open a wizard. So let me open a wizard, and then you just need to click continue, or on Windows next, and then you just need to install it. So now once you install it, now what we are going to do is how we can verify that the Node.js is installed on the machine or not. So what I will do is let's open our Visual Studio Code. Alright, so now I have my Visual Studio Code, and now what I'm going to do is I will go to the terminal, and in the terminal what I will do is I'm going to zoom a little bit, and here I'm going to type node-v, and this is going to give me the version of the Node.js that is installed on my machine. So I'm going to click enter, and you can see that this is the version I have installed. And with the Node.js, you also get a npm, which is a node package manager, which will help you to install the dependencies and manage dependencies. So what I will do is I'm going to have npm-v, and this is going to give me the version of the npm that I have on my machine. Alright, so what we have to do is first let's create a folder for our project. So I will go to cd documents. So let me go to the documents folder. I will have a codes. Alright, and here I'm going to create make directory of Node.js tutorial. Then I will go to my directory. So I will have the Node.js tutorial. Now I am in that directory, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that directory. So let me open the directory. So I'm going to go to the documents. I will go to the codes. I will go to Node.js tutorial, and I'm going to click on the open. So now I have it open, and now let's go to the terminal. And what I will do is I need to init my package.json file. So I will have the npm init, and this is going to give me the package.json file. So it's asking me for the package name. So I will have the Node.js tutorial. The version is 1.0.0. The description is this is Node.js tutorial for beginners. And then we have the entry point, which is the index.js. I don't have any test commands, no git repository right now, no keywords, no author. I will give the author name as the page Malvia, no license. Okay, so I'm going to have the yes. Now you can see that I have a package.json file. Now inside this package.json file, what I will do is I'm going to create a script, which will be a start script. So let me have a start script, and in this start script, what I will do is whenever I do an npm start, I need to have my Node.js, and it should use index.js. Whenever I type npm start, it's going to automatically fire the node index.js. So now we have it, and now what we have to do is let's create the index.js file first. So I'm going to go here. I will have index.js. Alright, so this is my index.js file. And the first thing I will do is let's write simple console.log, and I'm going to write this is Node.js tutorial for beginners, and let's change this to capital N. And now this is a simple index.js file. We have a simple console log in it, and now I want to run this file. So what I will do is let me clear the console, and here I'm going to type node. So whenever you want to run the Node.js scripts with the command line, what we will do is we are going to have the node, and we are going to specify the name of the file. So for us, it's the index.js. And when I hit enter, you will see that whatever we have in the console.log, that is what is printed here. Now, the other way of running the node script is we can also use directly the npm start. So let me have the npm start, and I will hit enter, and this is also going to execute same node index.js, and we can see the output. So this is the other way of running it. Now let me change something. So what I will do is I'm going to add one more console log. So I will have the console.log, and I will say that this is the first tutorial on nodejs. So now I made a change in the index.js file. So in order to see the output, I again have to run it. So let's run npm start, and now you will see that we have it. But what I want is whenever I make a change, it should automatically detect and it should execute it. So for that, we have a package called nodemon. So let's install the nodemon. So what I will do, I'm going to clear the console, and then I can install npm install -g nodemon. So either you can install it globally so that it will have on all the projects, or you can just install it for this project as a dev dependency. So for now, I will just install it as a dev dependency. So I'm going to have these --save and -dev, and then I will hit enter. So this is going to install the nodemon. Now let's go to the package.json, and you will see that for the dev dependency, we have the nodemon. And now what I will make a change here is that I'm going to run my application with the help of a nodemon. So let's have a nodemon here. I will save it. All right, now let's have npm start, and you will see that now the nodemon has started, and it is now watching all the files with this kind of an extension with the js, mjs, or json file. So if we go to the index.js, and if I add a new console, I will make this we will cover nodejs with command line. All right, and I will save it. And you will see that when I save it, my script is automatically executed, and then we will cover nodejs in the line. So this is how the nodemon is a very useful package while we work on the nodejs application. The next thing what I want to show you is that how we can exit from a nodejs program. So now this is a nodejs program, it is running, and if you want to exit from the nodejs, then you can use Ctrl+C. So that is going to give me my terminal back. And this is one of the way where you can use the Ctrl+C. But if you want to exit from the Node.js script programmatically, then we will see how we can do it. So Node.js has a process as a core module provided. So that process core, it allows us to programmatically exit from a Node.js program. So now let's see how we can use it. So we have a process as a core module provided by the Node.js, and we can simply use process.exit. So this process has a lot of methods on it, like env to fetch the environment variables, to exit, but we are going to come to that later on. So I will use the exit, and I'm going to pass the code. By default, the exit code is 0, which means a successful exit, but we can also give the code as 1. So let's have a 0, and I will save it. And now let's start. So I'm going to use the npm start. So let me clear the console first. So I will clear the console. All right, so now what we will do is, now let's start the application. So we will have the npm start, and this is going to start our application. But now you will see that I want to do a programmatic exit, and that's where I will going to change the 0 to 1, which means that the application will crash. So if I save it, then you will see that the app crash, waiting for the file changes before starting. And there is a different way of writing the same thing. We can actually use the process. So let me have the process.exit, and we can give it as 1. So they both are same, but it's a different way of writing. So I will save it, and we will see that we still have the So I'm going to change this to 0 now, and we will see that now we don't have the exit. And if I change it to 1, then we still see that we don't see anything, or we are not getting exited. So this should be code. So I will save it. And when we have the exit code, then it exit our application programmatically. So the next thing we want to see is how we can read the environment variables in Node.js. So what I will do is let's remove, or let's comment this out, and I'm going to create a new file which will be env.js. This is simply an JS file for environments which I have created. Now in this file, what I'm going to do is that whenever I want to have some environment variables, so let's first exit this application. And now what I will do is I want to pass some environment variables to my application. So let's clear the terminal. And I want to pass environment variable as name. So I will give the value as Dipesh. Then I also want to pass the profession. So let me have my profession as developer. All right. And I want to pass these two values, or these two environment variables, to my application. So my application, I'm going to start with env.js. and I will hit enter. But you won't see anything because we pass the values, we pass the environment values, but we don't know how to read those environment values. So here again, we can make use of the process core module. So what I will do is I'm going to have the console.log, and in the console.log I will have the process.env, and then I want to have my name of the environment variable. So the name was name and the other one was the profession. So let me have the other one as well. So I will have the profession, and now in this case I'm going to run it again. So I will pass it again and I will enter, and then you will see that we have the page. We are able to fetch the value from the environment variables using the process.env, but we have an undefined for the profession, and that is because the spelling is incorrect. So this will be profession. I will save it and then I will run it again. All right, so now I see that I have the page and developer, but this is one of the way you can do it. The other thing what you can do is, since you are not going to pass the environment variables from the command line, we are going to create a .env file. So let me create a .env file for the environment. So I will have the .env. So this is a one environment variable files, and I'm going to add all my environment variables here. So I will create the name, and I will give the name as the page. I will also create the profession, and I will give this as developer, and I will have a course. So let me have the course, and this will be Node.js. Now we have this environment variable file, and now we want to fetch the values from this environment variable file. So for that, what we can do is we can make use of a package called .env. So let's install that. So what I will do is I'm going to have the npm install .env. All right, and I will hit enter, and this will help me to fetch the values, the configuration values from the env file. So if we go to the package.json, and if we go down and we see, then we have a dependency installed. And now if I want to use it, how I can do that? What I will do is I'm going to go here. I will use the require, and we have to require the .env.config. So we will fire a config function. I will save it, and now let's go and start. So what I will do is I'm going to clear my console, and I will have the node, and I will run the env.js file. Now this time you will notice that I am not passing the environment variables in the command line. So I'm going to hit enter, and you will see that we fetch the values. Along this, I also want to fetch the course. So I will have this, and what I'm going to do is I am starting a new series on. So I will have this, and then what I will do is I'm going to save it, and now let's give a try. So now you will see that what we have is I am going to start a new series on developer, which is wrong. So this should be, oops. So this should be course. So let me have the course. I will save it, and now we can see that we have the page developer, and I'm starting a new series on Node.js. So this is how, with the help of .env, you can do it. There is another way that if you don't want to use the require to import the .env, what we can do is I will save it, and then now I will run the Node.js. Then you will see that I have all the values as undefined, because now Node.js doesn't know from where to get the values of the environment variables. All right, so what we will do is I will go here, and here what I will do, I'm going to write node-r. I want to use the .env/config, and I have to apply this config to my env.js, and I will hit enter. And now we see that we have a problem because we have made a spelling mistake. So let's do clear, and then I'm going to use the .env, and I will hit enter. And you see that we still get the values, the page developer. I am starting a new series. Next thing we are going to cover is the REPL, which is a read, evaluate, print, and loop. So this is a node command line. So what I will do is I'm going to create a new file. So let me create a new file. Oops, not here. I want to create a new file in my project, and I will name it as repl.js. So whenever we want to execute any node script, what we do usually is we do node and we give the file name. So let's have the index.js. But now what I want to do is I want to use the node command line. So let's go to the node command line. So if you just type node and if you hit enter, then you will go to the node command line. So here you can see that this is the node command line, and here we can do some evaluations and we can do some calculations. So let me start with a console.log, and I will say the page. All right. and then I'm going to hit enter. So you will see that I have the page printed. So what is this REPL? So let me type REPL. So this is read, evaluate, this will be print, and then loop. All right, so this stands for REPL. So what this means is that it's going to read the line of code which you have in the Node console, and then it's going to evaluate it, and then it will print the value, and then it's going to repeat the same thing for the next statement. So this is what REPL, and what we can do is, I mean, it helps us to simply do the calculations on the fly. So we can also do 5. If this is triple equals to 5, then you will see that I don't even hit enter, but it gives me the result. So if I hit enter, then it's going to give me the same thing. So that we can do. Now it also helps us sometime to write some functions. So it automatically knows that we have to write a function. So if I type something function, and let's have a function as the generate random number, and then what I will do is, now when I hit enter, then it automatically knows that it's a function and I have to write something more. So what I will do is, I'm going to have a return here, and what I will return, I will just simply return math.random. So let me have the math.random. All right, and then I will just finish this function. Okay, so now I have finished the function, and now let's try and use it. So I'm going to run the function, and I will call this function, and let's see. So we see that whenever we call a function, we every time get a random number. So this is how you can use this Node console. But it also gives one more thing. I mean, whenever you type something, it automatically gives you an auto-generated stuff. So when I simply type generate, then you will see that if I hit tab, then it's automatically give me the autocomplete stuff. And if you want to explore some JavaScript objects, then we can also check here. So what I will do is that I can type the number, I will add dot, and then I will add the tab. So it will give me all the properties that what I can use on the numbers. So if you want to see the global objects, then you can do that as well. So let me come out from it. And now if I want to use the global, then I can use simply the global. This should be global dot tab, and then you will see that it has all the global objects like error, child process, clear timeout, constant, and many things. Now other thing on the REPL which I want to show you, that this be used in the console, but if I want to use it programmatically, then how I can do that? So what I will do is I will go here, I will just remove this, and here what I will do is I will have constant REPL, and there is a module which is REPL. So I will use the require, and then I will have the REPL. And now what I will do is I'm going to create another constant with the local, and I want to start my Node console. So I will have the start command. All right, I will save it. Now let's go and run this application. So what I will do is I will see Control C, that will help me to exit. So let me have the Control C. I will clear the console, and then I will type node repl.js, and you will see that when I click on it, I automatically go to the Node console. Now one thing you can do is that whenever you want to start your Node console, you can use this repl start, but you can also pass something here. So the Node console started. All right, I will save it, and then let's give a try. So first let's close this, and now I will again run it, and here you will see that the Node console started. And now you can try to do the same thing. So what I will try to do is, if I want to write a console.log the page, then you will see that we have the console.log the page, but sorry, there was a syntax error. So I will have this, and I will hit enter. And if I want that it should look like a Unix machine, then I can have a dollar here. All right, I will save it, and let's give a try. So I'm going to have close, I will start it again. Then in this case, you will see that we have $8. So we can do this. And what I will do is that whenever I exit this Node command line, then in that case, I want to print some message. So let's do, I have a local dot on, and whenever I have an exit, I want to run a callback function. All right, and on that I want to have a console.log, and I will say that exiting REPL. All right, and then I can have the process.exit, so that will exit my command line. So I will have the process.exit. All right, I will save it, and now let's give a try. I want to exit, so I will click on Control C, then I will run it. So let me clear the console first. So I will clear the console, and I will run my REPL.js. All right, I have this, and here I want to exit it. So in order to exit, I will again type Control C, and when I type Control C, you will see that we print this exit REPL, and then we are exiting from the Node command line. All right, the next thing I want to show you is that whenever you run your Node application, and if you want to pass some arguments, how you can do that. So let's go to the arguments. So what I will do here is that I will just create a new file. So let me create a new file. I will have the argument.js, and then how I can pass the arguments. Okay, so we run the application with the help of node argument.js. All right, nothing is going to print because we don't have anything here, and I want to pass the arguments. So what I can do is I can have the node argument, and now I can pass the arguments which I want. So I want to pass Joe, or let me pass Dipesh. I will hit enter. Nothing is going to happen. We can also pass the argument like this: name is equals to Dipesh. Nothing is going to happen. Now what I want is that how we can read this argument in our JS file. So we can use the same thing. We can again use the process, which is a very powerful module we have in the Node.js. So here I will use the process dot argument. So if you see, we have the arg. So let's use this arg. So in this process dot argument, what we have is the first line. We actually have the path of our node where we have installed the Node.js. The second argument is actually the file name which we want to execute, and the third one is the argument that we want. So if we go and if we do a console.log, so let me have a console.log of process.arg, then let's see what we can see here. So what I will do is I'm going to go here, I will hit enter, and we see that okay, I have misspelled the console. All right, let me clear it and let me run it again. Then we see that it's a array, and the first index contains the value as the path of my node, the second contains the path of the file which I want to execute, and the third one is the argument. So what we can do is we can actually use the slice. So let me have the slice, and I will slice it as 2, and then I will have it 0, and I will save it. And now let's do it, and now we can see that we have the page which is name is equal to the page. What I will do is I want to print all the three stuff. So what I will do, I will have the process dot argument, and on that I can use the for each. So let me have the for each, and for each of the argument I'm going to have the value and the index of it. I will have the arrow function, and then I will have simply a console log, and let's have the backticks. I will first print the index, so let's have the dollar index, and the second I want to print the value, whatever the value is available. So I will have the value. All right, I will save it. Okay, I will just comment this out, we don't want that, and now let's run it. So I will run it, and you will see that at 0 index we have the path of the node, first index we have the path of the file which we want to execute, and on the second index we have this. All right, but what we want is we don't want this name equal to the page. We only want that if we have an argument dot name, then we should be able to get the value as the page. So there is a package which we can use, and that is called the minimist. So let's install that. So I'm going to install the minimist. All right, I will hit enter. The package is installed. We can verify in the package JSON, and with the minimist what we can do is let's go to our argument file, and what I can do here is that comment this as well, and what I will do is I'm going to have a constant argument new, and I will use the same. I will do the slice, and I need the index of 0. So this is going to give me if we go and console it first, so it's going to give me name equal to the page. So let me have a console. I will have arg new. All right, I will save it, and then I will just run the nodemon. So nodemon on the arguments. All right, and we see that the command not found. All right, so that is because we have to copy this, and let's go to the package JSON, and I will change this. All right, and now if I do npm start, then okay, we see that we have the nodemon, and we see that the value is undefined, and that was because we did not pass any of the arguments. So what I will do is I will just close this. We don't actually need the nodemon. What we will do is I will simply go to the node, or let's go and this. Okay, I have this node argument.js, and then name is equal to the page, and if I hit enter, then you will see that this argument is the, so I need something that if I use the argument new dot name, I should get the page as the output, and for that we can use the minimist. So what I will do is we already have the minimist, and I will pass this information in the minimist. All right, and I will do this. Okay, I will save it, and now let's go and check. So if I do this, then we see that minimis is not defined. So let's add it. So I'm going to use constant minimist is equals to require minimist, and now we can give a try. So let me clear it. So I will clear it, and then let's use it. So now you see that we still have the undefined. So that means we are doing something wrong. Okay, so we don't need to pass this now. So I will just remove it. And now if I save it, then we will be able to get the page. All right, so there is a catch that whenever you use a minimist, what we have to do is we have to give our key with hyphen hyphen, so that where it will be able to know that this is the key. So I'm going to hit enter. Now you will see that we have the page here. So with the help of minimist, we can actually retrieve or read the values or the argument values which we pass in the command line. The next thing we are going to see is how we can do the output to the command line using Node.js. So let's go and let's create a new file for the output. So I will do output.js. I will just correct the spelling. So we have the output.js, and in this let's have simple, start with a very simple. So I'm going to have x as 1, all right, and I will have a y as 2, all right. And the easiest thing we know that how we can put the values in the console is simply use the console log. So let's have a console log, and I want to print x and y, all right. I will save it, and when I run the output.js, it's going to give me 1 and 2. Now we can also use the format specifier and the format phrases. So if we want to format a variable as a string, then we can use the %s, and this will actually format variable to string. And similarly, if we want to do it for a number, we can use %d. If we want to do it for a integer part, then we can use %i, and if we want to do it for an object, then we can use the %o. Let's take an example of it. So let me have a console.log, and here I'm going to write I am, so I'm going to give a name here. I am the page, which is a string, and my age is %, let's have d, all right. And now I want to pass the values. So the first value is my name, the page, and the second is my age. So let me pass the age as 25. I will save it, and now let's give a try. So if I go and use it, then you will see that I am in the page and my age is 25. So this way you can actually use the format specifier and you can format the variables. The next is, if you want to clear your console, you can also use the console.clear, and this way you can clear your console. So if I go and run it, then you will see that my console will be cleared, because first it will do console log, then it will do this console log, and then the console.clear. Another interesting thing is you also have a console.count. So if your string or if you print anything multiple times, it's going to keep a count. So let's take an example. So I have a console.count, and I will write it here, I am the page, all right. And now what I will do is I'm going to copy this twice. So let me copy, I will copy again, and this time I'm going to console something else. So console.count, and I will write I am Nikesh, all right. I will save it, and I will going to run it. So let's run it. So it's going to clear the console first, and then we will have this information. So it's going to print the count as well. So I will hit enter, and now you see that I am the page, the count is 1, I am the page, the count is 2, because it's printed second time, and then I have I am Nikesh with the count 1. I can also reset my count. So if I want to reset my count, what I will do is I will have console log dot reset, count reset, and I will reset my count for I am the page. So I have I am, oops, the page, and once I do it, then I will add the console log again here. And now in this case, you will see that we will have the I am the page 1, I am the page 2, then I am Nikesh 1, then it will reset my counter, and then it will again have 1 instead of 3. So let's go and check, and you will see that I have these two, 1 2 1, and then I have reset the counter, and then I have again 1. So this way you can reset the count. Now there are some cases where whenever you're working on a project and you want to print the stack of your code, so what we can do is let's comment this out. So let's create a function. I will create a function, all right, and this will be an arrow function, and what this will return is I will have a console dot trace. So it's going to return the trace. So I want to give a function name. So let's have this function name 1, and then I will create another function which is a function 2, All right, and this function is going to call my function 1. So let me have the function 1, and then let's call the function 2. So I will call the function 2. All right, I will save it. And now let's give a try. So if I run node.js, then you will see that the trace is printed. So it is printing the function 2. Function 2 is being called. Then it will call the function 1. So you have this function 2 here, and you have the function 1. So this way you can print the stack trace, and it will help you in the debugging as well. The next thing you can also do in the output console is you can calculate the time spent by your function. So what I'm going to do is let's create two functions. So I'm going to comment this out, and then what I will do is I'm going to create two functions. So let me have a function sum, and this is going to print the sum. So for this I will have the console.log, and I will have the backtick. I will have the sum of 2 and 3 is, I will have the dollar, and I will have 2 plus 3 here. Oops, this will have a backtick here. So I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to add my backtick here. And a similar, I will have another function which will be a multiply. So let me have the multiply, and this is going to give me the multiplication of 2 and 3. So I'm going to change this to asterisk. So now I have two functions, and I want to see how much time is actually spent to execute those two functions. So let me create, and let's have a constant. I will have a measure time function, and this measure time function will actually going to calculate the time spent for each of the functions. So how I can do is I want to first calculate the time for this sum execution. So I will have a console.time and for sum, and now I want to call my function sum. So let me call the function sum, and then once it is executed, I want to stop my time. So time end. All right, and this time end for sum. Now we can do the similar thing for the multiply as well. So let me add it here. I'm going to change this to, oops, I'm going to change this to multiply. All right, and now let's call this function measure time. So I'm going to call the measure time. All right, I will save it, and now let's execute it. So I'm going to use node output.js, and now you will see that the sum of 2 and 3 is 5, which is correct. And this is the time taken to execute the function. Similarly, for the multiplication, it's 6, and this is the time taken for the multiplication. All right, so this way you can also in the console log, you can add the execution time of a function as well. Now, one interesting thing I want to show you is that you must have seen in a lot of whenever you install the package, you see there is a download tick bar. So how they can create it? So let's create that progress bar. So for that, we have to install a package which is a progress bar. So let's install it. So what I will do is I will go here, and I will have the npm install progress. All right, so this will be progress. I will hit enter. Okay, we have the progress. If we go to the package.json, we have the progress. Now how we can use this? So what I will do is I will first comment this out. We don't want this anymore. All right, I will save it. And now what we can do is we can actually write the code for the progress bar. So what I will do is first we need to use the progress bar. So I will have the progress bar, and this will be require, and let's add the progress. All right, we have the progress, and now we can make use of, we need a constant. So let me have a bar. This will have a new progress bar, and in this what I want is I want that whenever we are downloading something, I want to use the bar. So this will be bar, and I also want to use the speed or the rating which it will get downloaded. So it will be bps, and I will have the percent, and I will also use the expected time. And then what we will do is it also has another argument which is the time, how much you need the total progress bars. So I will have a total of 20 bars maybe. So let's have a 20 here. All right, we have it. And now I'm going to create a set interval function. So let me have a constant timer is equals to set interval. All right, and in the set interval we are going to have a function, and we want it or every 100 milliseconds. All right, and I will use the bar dot tick. So it has some functions inbuilt. So I will have the bar dot tick, and whenever my bar is completed, so I will have the complete. Then in that case I want to just clear the interval. So let me clear the interval, and I will have the timer. All right, I will save it. Now let's try it. So what I will do is I'm going to clear the console. I will use the output, and I will hit enter, and we see that we have an error. So the error is the new progress bar. Let's go and let's check. So yeah, so the problem is this is capital. So let's change this. I will save it, and now let's clear and run it again. And now you see that we have this progress bar. So this is how you can actually use the outputs on your console. So it's a very powerful, and whenever we install any package also, you see that we have something like similar to it on whenever we install any packages. So this can be done with the help of the progress bar. Now one thing you can also do is, if you want to change the color, then what we can do is we can install a package called chalk. So I will install a package npm install chalk, and I will hit enter, and this is going to give us some beautiful colors if we want to add it in our console log. So how I can use that? So let me go and use it. So I'm going to go here, and I will have a console.log, and inside the console.log I can use whatever color I want. So I will use the chalk.green, and this is Node.js tutorial. And now I will run it, and we see that we have a color or not. So let me run it, and we see that we get an error because we did not use the chalk require. So let's go and import it. So I will go here, I will have a constant chalk that will be equals to the require, and I will add the chalk. All right, let's give a try. So if I clear the console and I run the file, we still have chalk has already been declared. So where it is declared, we have to find it out. So it already imported by default, so I will just remove that. All right, I will save it, and now let's give a try. All right, so if I run it, then we see that we have an error because chalk 5. So if we go to the package JSON, then we see that the chalk 5 is actually uses ES module. So what we will do is we can install the chalk 4. So I will go and change this. So let's go and install the chalk 4. I will hit enter, and this is going to change the version to 4. Now let's give a try. So in the chalk 4, we can use it with the help of common JS modules. So I'm going to run the output, and you will see that we have this in the green color now. So we can also make this in the blue. So let me change this to blue, and it's very simple. So now run it, and you will see that we have a different color in our console output. So this is how we can use the output to the command line using Node.js. Now let's take an example for the input as well, how we can accept the input from the user in our command line. All right, so I'm going to create a new file. I will have the input.js. All right, and in the input.js, what we can do is we can actually make use of a read line. So this read line package is going to help us to read a line in the console from the user. So what I will do is I'm going to have a constant read line. All right, and that is equals to the require, and I will have the read line. Now with the read line, we need to create an interface for the input and output. So what I will do is let's have a constant. I will have a read line. All right, and then we have a create interface, and with this create interface, it's going to have the input and it will have the output. So for the input, we can use the process.standard input. So this is the standard input. For output, we can use the standard output. So let me have the process.standard output. We have the interface, and now what we can do is we can have this rl.question. So here we can have the question, whatever question we want to use. So what I will do is I'm going to have a backtick, and I will have what is your name. I will have the question mark, and when you have this rl.question, you will ask a question, what is your name, and then you will wait for the user to add the input. Once the user adds the input and it hits enter, then a callback function will be called. So let's have this callback function. So sorry, I will have the name, and this is the callback function, and then we can have the console log here. So I will have the console log, and we are going to have a greeting. So here I will have the hi, I will have the name. Oops, this will be $. All right, I will save it. And then what we will do is once we have the user input, I want to close this. So let me have the read line dot close. All right, I will save it. And now let's give a try. So what I will do is I will clear it, and then I'm going to use the node input.js. So let me have the input.js, and I will enter, and you will see that it's now asking for a name, and it's the execution is now halted. So what I will do is I will, whenever I have my name and I hit enter, a callback function, which is this callback function, will be called, and my name will be printed with hi the page, and then this read line will be closed. So let's have it. I will have the page, and I will hit enter, and you see that we have hi the page. So this way we can use the input from, we can take the input from the user from the command line. There is one more package called prompt sync, where if you want to get rid of this callback function, you can use the prompt sync. Let's take a look on it. So I'm going to have the npm install prompt sync. All right, and it's going to get installed. Oops, I have a problem. Okay, so I actually misspelled it, so it will be prompt sync, and this is going to get installed. If we go here, we can verify it. Now, how we can use the prompt sync? What I will do is I'm going to have a constant. I will have the prompt. This will be require, and here I can use the prompt sync. And since prompt syncs actually gives it's a function, so we need to execute this function to use it. So I will have an empty brackets to execute the function. And now how can I use it? So for now, I will just comment this out. We don't want it. We can now have, let's have a simple constant name. Then the name will be, I want to prompt, what is your name? And then simply have a console log. So I will have the console.log, and then I will have the name here. All right, or we can simply use this again. So here we don't need to add any callback function. All right, now let's give it a try. So if I run the node input.js, then it will ask for the name. I will type the name, then you will see that it has hide the page. But here there's a problem that now you need to exit from the command line, then you have to use the control C. So we have covered a lot of basics about the Node.js. I know that this is nothing related to any project or any real world examples, but it's important to go through first the basics and then go for the building real world applications. So in the coming video, we are going to see more basics and built-in features of Node.js. We are also going to see about the Node.js package manager, asynchronous work, manipulating files, and many more. So that's all I have in this video. I hope you liked the video. A thumbs up is appreciated. You can also connect with me via Facebook or Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter for latest updates. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. Thank you. Thanks for watching.